You know I'm straight, but this woman... Carla Harvey is not just a pretty face though. She turned pain into purpose. But it was only in her 30s that she truly achieved success in her life. If you feel like it's too late for you to follow your dreams, maybe you can't seem to pull yourself out of a rut, then this one is for you. Carla Harvey, American co-front woman of metal band Butcher Baby, is also an author, a licensed mortician, a death doula, grief counselor, erotic artist, comic book writer, and an ex-Playboy TV host. She is the whole package, you guys, and what an absolute stunner. You will see in this video that every single setback and painful experience in her life comes together perfectly to give her the success that she enjoys today. Being a biracial kid in a very racially divided neighborhood, she was constantly bullied and expected to pick a side. Her father was an addict and was always out drinking and partying. He abandoned her and her mom when Carla was just a kid, and so her mom struggled to take care of her without any help from her dad. When she was just 11, she was molested by an older boy who also hurt his sisters. The boy was put in jail. Carla, however, was subjected to victim shaming when other kids started calling her names in school. They bullied her, pulled her hair, and shouted out names. Some kids are fucking assholes. No one talked to her about how to handle a situation like this. She was left alone to deal with it. She suffered from crippling anxiety and barely spoke to anyone. Just walking down the street or walking into a store or a room full of people would make her really anxious. She didn't know how to speak to anyone or be herself with anyone because she was told that she wasn't good enough and not being worthy of being loved or interesting. Now Carla grew up with thrash metal and death metal. It was Pantera's Phil Anselmo who inspired her to be a singer. As metalheads know, heavy metal is incredibly therapeutic, and Carla stayed holed up in her room as a teenager listening to Pantera and would draw sketches from the lyrics of Pantera's songs. Being a biracial girl who loves metal, Carla was now faced with being liking who she was or fitting in and being like everyone else. Now she was a smart kid who always had straight A's. She got offered scholarships in every college she applied to. She could have chosen any path she wanted. But it was Guns N' Roses who sparked her interest to want to be a musician. And so she moved to LA. At 18, Carla became an exotic dancer so she could save up cash to make that journey to LA. And although she saved up 10 grand at 19 and finally moved, she got hooked on cocaine. For the first time, she felt like she could talk to people and have the balls to be whoever she wanted to be. Cocaine also helped her numb the bad feelings and push her past trauma aside. In LA, Carla landed various gigs in showbiz doing the entertainment report for a groundbreaking cable TV news program. She also acted in a variety of television programs, movies and commercials, and was also a Playboy TV host. But there were two problems. One, cocaine was slowly destroying her life as it stopped her from pursuing her passion. She stopped drawing, would miss auditions, and it almost caused her to lose her life. And two, she didn't like the fact that she was just a sex object and something that everybody wanted her to be. You see, Carla grew up at a time where the blonde bombshell was all the rage and you had to have a tiny waist, big boobs, and a certain body type. It was almost forced down that that's what beautiful was. That's what you should look like. So she thought that's what she was supposed to do to be attractive. Carla dyed her hair blonde. She had weight restrictions and a strict contract to leave her hair blonde in Playboy. She hated the way she looked and felt. When she voiced her opinion, she was fired for insubordination. But this ended up being the best thing that ever happened to her, because now she could take a long hard look at herself and ask herself what she wanted to be and how she wanted to be represented. Carla had always been fascinated by death, human anatomy, and in all its aspects. So she decided to take a break from showbiz to earn her degree in mortuary science and worked in several capacities, including an embalmer and funeral director. The sheer amount of focus she needed to study various challenging subjects like anatomy, physiology, and chemistry forced Carla to move away from drugs. Working as an embalmer was pretty hardcore. She was also an autopsy technician. Through this path, she started to treat her body with a lot more respect because she realized how lucky she was to be upright and walking. Her fascination with human anatomy further fueled her art, and you'll see a lot of influences with skulls and heart. Her biggest lesson on this path came through grief counseling, where she helped people and families who struggled with extreme loss. This was life-changing when she found herself being of service to people who couldn't help themselves. This is truly where Carla found her truth, and being of service to others, she found fulfillment and was able to overcome all her past trauma once and for all. She's actually written a full-length novel called Death and Other Dances, where she talks about her life and how being a dancer, the cocaine, and dealing with death helped her find herself and heal. The book has amazing reviews and is on Amazon, so go check it out. While her career in embalming and funeral directing was taking off, Carla decided to instead pursue her passion of being a musician. She met co-vocalist Heidi Butcher and they had an immediate connection and a common love of metal, thereby forming the band Butcher Baby. Their band has so far released 3 successful albums and a 4th one underway. They're touring worldwide and their live shows are jam-packed with energy. Carla dealt with a lot of body dysmorphia and insecurities growing up, she had a sort of revelation when she was at the gym one day. She said she'd been working out really hard and noticed she was getting muscles in places she never had muscles. And she thought, this is how I want to be. She was in love with comic books growing up and with superheroes. She's always loved strong, muscular women. She says women are constantly wondering what a man wants them to look like or social media wants them to look like. But we have the greatest gift, and that is the choice to determine what we want to look like, what we want to do. Carla was never a sporty girl, although she loves watching baseball. Her coach tried to get her to play, but she would just stand at the back and get hit by the ball. However, staying in shape for Carla has been important both on and off tour. She's a gym girl, and lifting weights has really helped her with mental stress as well as physical health. She lifts hardcore weights and says doing shows require a ton of stamina and strength. Her guttural vocals need core strength, and she's very active on stage for the whole hour and a half. She also does yoga and loves hot yoga. She meditates by sitting in silence and focusing on her breathing, which helps her stay calm in stressful situations. In addition, she builds endurance through cardio. This is usually a morning incline walk and then jog downhill. A friend from the army told her that he and his troops would sing war pigs during their training, and so she sometimes sings while running to practice for her stage performance. Carla is a big advocate of hydrating oneself and always recommends getting enough water and sleep to look your best. She says when you're hydrated and well rested, makeup just goes on much smoother. She also prefers vegetables over fruit, as fruit is high in sugar and too much can add to weight gain. Carla loves a good burger and seafood salad. She's also really intrigued with egg salad sandwiches in UK and Europe and always hunts for those every time she's on tour there. She's allergic to chocolate, and so you'll always see vegan cakes on her Instagram profile. On tour, Carla drinks a lot of tea to help with her voice. She also always carries Quest protein bars to snack on when she gets hungry at night. Protein powder is a must on tour as they work out even while on tour. Being a vocalist means she can't drink alcohol too much as it affects her voice. But Carla does enjoy the occasional wine and Jaeger shots, which she has sometimes before bed on tour. She's a whiskey neat kind of girl and hates beer. In fact, she's never had a full beer. Yes, beer is gross. Give me all the wine. Carla is over 40 with flawless skin. She uses cleansing products and is very strict about her skincare regimen, whether she's on the road or home. After parties, she generally starts with an ice pack on her eyes and then uses a hydrating mask, followed up by eye cream and lotion and under eye concealer. Her perfect Sunday would be waking up to a perfect iced Americano and an egg white omelette and having the whole day to draw or paint uninterrupted. In fact, on tour, she's usually the first one up, heads out to a nice cafe, gets her iced Americano and sketches. This is how she fills her time on tour. Carla has dealt with negativity her whole life. She's always had people telling her that she couldn't achieve what she wanted to pursue, and she always ended up proving them wrong. As a child, she was told she wasn't worthy. In her past relationships, she was called names. In the embalming lab and metal band, she was told that it was a place for men. She was called fat and ugly in comments during her time in Playboy, and was even called names by female friends when she got an opportunity that they didn't. She says it used to bother her and she began to dumb or tone herself down in situations both mentally and physically. She finally had to make a decision in her life to get past that. She knew that she was meant to do something special. She wasn't going to let her past determine her future. She wasn't going to let other people's bad choices determine what she would do with her life. She realized that these words people used on her are the juvenile go-tos when insulting a woman. The insults people use when that's all they got. They try and attack femininity because it is powerful, and they don't want women to be powerful. So now she wears all her scars like badges of honor, and she refuses to let anyone stifle her sexuality, no matter what label they want to slap on her. Her style icon is Sophia Loren. She says she was a very feline beauty, all eyes and cheekbones, and she was so proud of being feminine and having great curves. Carla says, I think we live in a time when a lot of women are afraid to be proud of their sexuality for fear of being shamed for it. I think women should embrace their femininity again. When asked about dealing with negative comments, to this day she says, if you're a musician or an artist, you've got to be honest in your convictions and say, look, this is what I like to do. I think it's fucking cool, so this is what I'm going to do, and make all the rest of the stuff white noise. All the naysayers. It's a hard skill to learn, but at the same time, it's one of the most important things you'll have to do if you choose a career in entertainment. Carla is such an inspiring role model to both men and women, but especially to little girls. She says she wouldn't change any of her past experiences as they made her the woman that she is today, and she is very proud of that. But she would love to tell that little girl, her past self, that she is special, she is smart and beautiful, and to hold on because life can be so amazing. Her message to the world: if you want something, you have to keep at it. You are what you do every day. Hone your craft. Get out there and live your dream. Don't let anyone tell you no. At the same time, be realistic. Put the work in. If you believe in what you want, you can do it. Be authentically you and be proud of the things that set you apart from others. Today, Carla is not just a successful musician. Her passion for sketching comic book characters has earned her the title of Comic Book Mastermind by Hustler magazine. Her first published comic book, called Butcher Babies, premiered and sold out at its Comic-Con San Diego debut. Her sketching comic characters while listening to Pantera holed up in her room as a teenager has also paid off, and she's one of the writers of Pantera's graphic novel Vulgar Display of Power, where she got to write a 9-page comic based on an iconic song off the album. Carla also releases a yearly compilation of her art. She runs a publishing company and an apparel line featuring her art called Pretty Girls Do Ugly Things. She also returned to her other passion and became a grief practitioner and a death doula. She founded a bereavement center called Good Grief Los Angeles, where she caters to the grief and mental health needs of metalheads. Moral of the story, you can't shine if you let people have power over your choices. So, let me know in the comments if this queen story has inspired you to follow your dreams. And also, who am I featuring next? Don't go away, there's more. Check out this story right here on how Maria Brink, who is not a gym girl, stays in such amazing shape.